I wanted to hate this bike. Honda spent way too much to make these and actually lost money doing so. But when Whitney and I rode it and really looked at it, we thought maybe it's not a mistake, but a masterpiece. This Terminator-looking bike has the same tough engine as the Goldwing GL 1800 with 118 horsepower and 121 pounds-feet of torque at 4,000 RPM. You might be thinking, so it's just a fancy Goldwing. Kind of on the inside, but on the outside, it's something else entirely. It's rumored to have cost Honda $150,000 to build just one Rune, thanks to all the custom parts like the painstaking lost wax casting process used to sculpt the exhaust system.
Look at how cool you look. I feel so cool.
The only mistake Honda ever really made was the CTX 1300. You know, that 2014 cruiser that Honda made for comfort with sport touring practicality, but ended up with a bike that didn't satisfy either camp, and they stopped production after a year. Honda sold the Valkyrie Runes at a loss. That sounds like a mistake, but it wasn't made to make money. It was made to be a work of art. The only other bikes that really come close to what Honda did with the Rune are Yamaha's GTS 1000 and Ducati's 2008 RR Desmo Sedici. The GTS was Yamaha's chance to show off cutting-edge tech at the time. A front swing arm like a Bimoda instead of your typical fork setup. It was smart and advanced, but it didn't turn as many heads. It was more of an engineering flex than a visual one. Then there's the RR Desmo Sedici, a street-legal MotoGP bike from Ducati, built in limited numbers and priced sky-high. It was exotic, fast, and razor-sharp, but it wasn't meant for your average rider. It was built for collectors and track junkies. The Rune, though, that was something else entirely. Honda poured their soul into this bike, not just to prove they could do it, but to make a statement. It wasn't built to be practical or profitable. It was built to be unforgettable. Every line, every curve, every handcrafted detail screams one thing. We dare you to ignore this.
This feels so comfortable and like manageable and doable. It seems so long, like compared to like my Harley Electric Glide.
Honda built less than 4,000 Runes. For reference, they sold 40,000 Rebel 1100s in 2024 alone. So these are very rare. Back in 2004, a Honda Rune would have cost you around $30,000 or over $50,000 in today's dollar. More than a brand new CVO Road Glide ST. Reactions were mixed. Some people praised it as a rolling sculpture. Others said it looked like the front half of a bike got lost in a time warp. But love it or hate it, the Rune made a statement. Honda wasn't trying to flood the market. They were just showing off. And now, it's a cult classic. A collectible. It's weird in the best way. The Rune was a moment a big OEM stopped trying to make the cheapest, most efficient, most marketable, whatever, and just had fun.
It's got this beautiful trailing bottom link fork that is one of a kind. I mean, it's crazy looking, which says to me that this is gonna be a smooth ride. I just have a feeling. I'm anxious to ride it because it's so massive and I don't have a ton of experience riding gigantic bikes. But it's Honda, right? They make great, reliable, smooth machines, so I don't see why this would be the exception.
Okay, enough talking. Next, we are all gonna ride these ridiculous bikes we're on. Whitney will be on the Rune, I'll be on the Boss Haas, and Maria on the R18. And our reactions may not be what you expect.
All right, guys, before we get started on this legendary ride between the Honda Rune, the BMW R18, and the frickin' Boss Haas V8 motorcycle, I need to shout out today's sponsor because they're making this happen. So shout out to Brake Free. I had actually never heard about Brake Free before editing on Doodle's channel, which I've been doing for 2 years. And I low-key always loved how it looked because it reminds me of Star Wars, and I'm a big Star Wars fan. It's really important these days to be seen as much as humanly possible. Safety is key. We all want to keep riding motorcycles until our hips give out. But even if my hips give out, I would just replace them with bionic hips and I would keep riding motorcycles. But until then, use Brake Free. They have technology in here that is going to flash when you're slowing down or stopping, and it is super cool. It comes in white or black. I don't know why I got white. think it looks cool. It's very, I was just about to say, it's very stormtroopery. It comes with 2 mounts, so you can put it on. I've got one on this helmet, and I have one on my like ADV dad helmet as well, and it comes off super easy just like that, so you can just plug it in and charge it. So they also just upgraded all the break-free lights with a USB-C chargers for faster charging. So shout out break-free, use code Doodle10 and be sure to click the link below and get yours today.
Okay, Whitney, how is the Rune?
Dude, I was so nervous to ride this bike, and just there's a couple factors, right? It's massive, it's very expensive, and it's not mine. Those are all very valid reasons to be afraid to ride a bike. But this thing is amazing. It's so nimble. It's super tame. It, like on the highway, it was nothing. There was no fear. It's also super windy out, and I didn't blow around because this is 888 pounds of pure raw chrome. I'm riding Honda history right now, and I can, unfortunately, the only other gold wing I've ever ridden was Shade Tree's Raspberry Beret, this absolutely crushes it. I would take this. I would take the Honda Rune any day over Shade Tree's bike. This thing is incredible. I'm actually surprised at how relaxing it is to ride. I also really enjoy how I feel like I'm on like a retro 1950s hot rod. Like I think it's at least 3 or 4 feet between my chest and the end of the headlight, which is crazy.
The Rune wasn't born from a corporate directive. It came out of Honda America's kind of secret skunkworks team, American Honda, and the Honda Research of America. They wanted to prove that they could out-design even Japan. Before the Rune ever hit the streets, Honda developed 3 wildly different concepts, each more outrageous than the last. And instead of keeping them locked away in a boardroom, they did something almost unheard of. They unveiled them at the 2000 Cycle World Motorcycle Show in Long Beach, California. The designs were labeled T1, T2, and T3, each representing a distinct vision of what the Rune could be. The T1 was a hot rod Valkyrie. Some of its ideas eventually got watered down into the VTX series. The T3 was drag-inspired, built around an exposed round tube frame. But it was the T2 that lit everyone up. It had a swooping 1930s, streamlined modern style, a look lead designer Martin Manchester called neo-retro. It pulled inspiration from Art Deco and old school hot rods and twisted it into something wild and futuristic. Internally though, Honda wasn't aligned. According to large project leader Masanori Aoki, many expected the T1 to win. Honda had already begun development on it. But when they showed all 3 mock-ups at the Cycle World show, something unexpected happened. The T2 didn't just win, it dominated. It got 4 times more positive feedback than any other design. The reaction was so strong, Aoki said it was difficult for many Japanese team members to understand why the people were so excited. Anyways, Honda listened. They shelved the safe bet and greenlit it almost as is, right down to the wild trailing link front suspension, that crazy single-sided swing arm, and that massive cast aluminum frame that looked like a sculpture. And to make it happen, the US design team almost had to break every rule, even getting Honda Japan to ship parts and castings they didn't normally export. The Rune wasn't just a production bike in the traditional sense. It was a concept bike you could buy.
You love your bike!
Dude, I finally got the best bike, I think. I'm like, this is amazing.
Retribution? You finally got a bike that it wasn't stupid. I got the stupidest bike this whole trip. Whitney got the ugliest bike. I mean, Maria got the ugliest, and Whitney got the good bike.
You look really cool on it.
It looks insane and intimidating and crazy, but it sounds like it's fine.
Yeah, no, that usually happens. You're like, oh God, it's Sean's bike. I'm afraid to ride it. I'm gonna take good care of it. But then you get on it and you're like, oh, this bike can hold its own. I don't need to. Wow. It doesn't need anything from me. Oh look, there's a guy over there in the dirt bike with his little dog chasing him.
Oh my gosh, what a good life! That is the most beautiful thing I ever saw.
You guys, I have no idea why I was as nervous as I was to ride this bike. It is such a puppy dog. I love it. Shout out Honda for making such a cool bike. and really kind of invigorating the passion that lives in all of us. YouTube is watching you, and you know what they say? You're going to really enjoy the video right over here.